that's sort of led by politicians, or politicians played a leading role, happened only because there was a citizen revolt underneath it, one that said and reflected the widespread American idea that bailouts are just wrong morally and wrong pragmatically, that Obamacare, which has also never been popular, and that raising the debt ceiling, always unpopular. There's a little period of time there where Republicans, when they had only one House of Congress, recognized these things and were able to actually leverage that into making some deals that were good. And it is striking to note that now that they run two houses of Congress, we don't hear much about debt ceiling as being a bad thing. And in fact, I saw a headline, I think yesterday, saying that some Republicans are thinking about shutting down the government if they don't get military spending increases. So hooray for that. Government desperation is a nice kind of tool to create some of these libertarian victories, particularly in the area of pension reform. There is very few, as we all know in this room, actual kind of zero-sum arguments that are worth a damn, but one of them is that there is a zero-sum amount of money that government can spend in a given year and a given period of time, and that amount, that pie, is being eaten more and more and more just by pension costs out there. So there are some desperate cities, there's some desperate states who just want to be able to spend the money on other things. So this is a good way to sort of wedge in some pension reform. I mean, government desperation in New Orleans and Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina led to what is one of the most amazing stories in contemporary America, which is that the entire New Orleans school system is a charter school system. And it's doing awesome, unlike the predictions of everybody who've been against that. Familiarity and federalism, both of these play a big role in a lot of these things, especially, I would say, with gay marriage, gay rights in general, and also pot legalization. Again, politicians don't lead on any of this, but if we have a federalist system where we can pass ballot initiatives, work around politicians, then you get to have experiments and have a look. You're always scared of the new. You're scared, my God, there's a pot store on the corner, the life's gonna fall and the republic will die. Well, let's open one up, see what happens. And that doesn't happen. People suddenly see that people that they know use medical marijuana, or people in their own family are gay, and their attitudes change so incredibly. The polling numbers on both those issues over the last 20 years have been astonishing. And because we have a federalist system, we are able to experiment that way. We need to recognize that that is a great engine and create more of a space for more of those experiments. Bipartisan idiocy is a very important engine for this, which is to say, on a lot of these issues, especially the drug war, which I think it's Bill Bennett and a Kennedy are the last two people who believe in the drug war now. The arguments on the wrong side have been so bad for so long that at some point it just becomes unbearable for people to deal with. But politicians are scared to be the first ones to jump. So when you look at opportunities to create new libertarian victories, a lot of them are places where both parties have kind of colluded to be scared about things. What else led to that? The flip side of that kind of bipartisan idiocy, of which we see plenty, are these kind of strange, unlikely coalitions. Right now, criminal justice reform is probably the best example of that. The Koch brothers are giving the ACLU millions of dollars. FreedomWorks is collaborating with MoveOn.org. Rand Paul and Cory Booker are crafting legislation. We're going to get real criminal justice reform over the next 16 months. It's probably not going to be as much as we would like necessarily, but if people would have said to themselves, I can't work with that person, I can't be seen on a stage with that person, then this wouldn't happen. This is a great engine, particularly for those bipartisan idiocies out there, to create a different kind of pressure. And we see the same thing that's happened in sort of a bipartisan grassroots revolt against the surveillance state. We saw it against going to war in Syria in 2013. It's a great engine going forward, and I think people are realizing that kind of single issue coalitions are much more of the future. Long game arguments, this is very important. We always, all of us, and even Nick, tend to over-focus on politics and elections and things like that. The gun rights cases are an example of the libertarian legal movement, which has been beavering away for decades and decades. Lots of great research done about what were the original ideas and and